Hi, and welcome back to the digital job site for part 3 of 3 in doing a fence design. In the first part we created a fence post component, and in the second part created this picket component. And this video I'll show how to replicate, duplicate the fence components and to give you a good representation of the fence you're designing. Just for future reference, I am going to draw a center point on the bottom of this post component. To make it a little easier for a step farther along. There we go. I'm just going to draw a pencil line over to that center point. Sometimes SketchUp has real issues with locating center points of circles and squares that I found. Anyways, so to replicate this component, I am going to copy that picket and then enter into the fence post component edit mode and paste the picket into that. So now what you see here is actually 3 components: a fence post with a picket attached to it, and then a separate picket component. So we're just going to delete that picket component on its own. The only one that's left is attached to the post. So jump into the edit mode of that post, which still contains a picket. And we're going to position this back, give a little bit of offset to our fence by holding the right arrow key and the move tool. It's going to fight me. So this time I'm going to hold the left arrow key, which will move it 1 inch. Give us a 1 inch offset from the face of the post to the face of the picket. So I'm going to go back 2 steps and select this picket, the move tool, the left arrow key, move this back 1 inch, and then I'm going to select the right arrow key, which allows it only to move in the right direction, and I'm going to go a 1/2 inch. That way our first picket is positioned 1/2 inch off the post, and we want the rest of these to have a 1 inch space in them, just for grins here. So I'm going to hold the right arrow key, press the control key, and move this 6.5 inches, and then by typing in 10x I tell it to do that 10 times. And actually I wanted 9x so that there's ends up being 10 pickets for some silly reason. Anyway, so there's a quick way of duplicating the pickets, moving them around. If we measure this component and click on the edge of this last picket and drag in the red direction and hold the shift key to this far side of this post, I can see that this section is 68 inches wide. So I'm going to copy that component by selecting the move tool, hitting the control key and the right arrow key, sliding this 68.5 inches will give us the same spacing as everything else, and then I'm just going to tell it to do that 5x, which will give us many sections. And I could have just as easily typed 500x. SketchUp cares not the numbers of things you care to duplicate. Alright, well, if we want this fence to go around the yard, we might want to have another section of it going 90 degrees. So I've selected all our fence components, and then I'm going to select the rotate tool, go to our little center point here, and this is why I created it, just so I could find the silly thing. And we're going to click in the red direction, hit the control key, and swing 90 degrees. And that will give us a fence that goes 2 directions. Simple as that. You could just replicate this whole thing and make the fence go all the way around your yard if you want, or around a garden or whatever it is. And looking at this fence, I think that I want a little pattern on the bottom of this fence post. So I'm going to jump into one of these post components, and this is the beauty of SketchUp. I'm going to select the geometry for these two little notches here. So I've selected that curve, and then by hitting the Move tool and the Control key, now I'll hold the up arrow key and just slide these down on our drawing here. So we've moved that geometry, and then I think by erasing some lines here, we've quickly added. Now you might not agree with my design style here, but the purpose is to show how simply things can be edited in SketchUp. I edited every one of those picket components with a few simple mouse clicks. That makes it all pretty handy. Showing how to create a fence, and then let's put Bryce back in here. I'm going to just select Bryce and stick him in the model here. You can just go hang out behind the fence over here. I'm just going to hold these arrow keys to get him to go the direction I want him to. He can be a little stubborn sometimes. Trying to keep him on the ground and moving back in the green direction, and move him over in the red direction a little bit. Get him to hang out behind the fence. And then just to give this a little more artistic feel to the drawing created, we'll just if you go under Window and select Styles, you'll get the Styles box. And I kind of like this brushstrokes on canvas look. And by clicking that, we've changed our rendering significantly, turned the shadows on, and just have a rendering of some fence ideas. You can go back through these steps, edit the fence, edit the post, any sort of thing. And it makes it pretty simple to put your design ideas down on paper or on the screen, as it were, to evaluate proportions and distances. So, thanks for watching the digital job site. Hope you enjoyed your fencing lessons. And if you come to this video first, make sure you go to findhomebuilding.com and the digital job site blog, where you can see all 3 of the video clips that make up this fence drawing series. Thanks for watching.